let's get into this. Some of you might have realized or noticed on the Hills Rising that they recently had on Dr. Anthony Fauci for an interview. But some of you also may have noticed that notably absent from the panel that day was Kim Iversen. Much to her dismay, she was excluded from this big bombshell interview with Dr. Fauci. Obviously, one of the things Kim's most passionate about is COVID and the vaccines and all that stuff. She has a lot of interesting takes on that. And obviously she wanted to be a part of this interview, as it, shows here. They had on Dr. Fauci, and it didn't seem like a total softball interview from the clips that I saw. It seemed like they were, asking him some tough questions, at least somewhat tough. But anyway, a lot of people, noted, as Kim mentions here, where was Kim? And she says, good question. So it's unclear as of now why Iverson was not involved in this panel. And that's not the only reference she made of it. She also put out another tweet right here that says, good question, in response to, out of all of the many Rising segments where most Rising viewers ask themselves, where's Kim? This one takes the cake. Who at Rising thought this was a good move? And again, she responds with, good question. One more, though. She also tweeted this. She said, I wanted to be a part of this interview. It's a shame I wasn't able to be there to get the answers we all deserve. So again, she's clearly very salty about the fact she was excluded from this big Dr. Anthony Fauci interview. Very, very upset. And as we've noticed, it does look like she's taken the Hills Rising out of her bio. So no longer in her bio is she advertising the fact that she works for the Hills Rising. And even seemingly, since the last time I looked, it looks like she's removed her header photo, which previously was a picture of her, Robbie, and Ryan at the Rising studio. Let me just reload my page. It does appear that she's completely removed any mention of the Hill or Rising from her Twitter biography. And thanks to our friend of the show, Progressive Michigander, he actually utilized the Wayback Machine to go back a few days to her previous bio, and it did say the Hills Rising. So this is a new development. She's taken the Hill and Rising out of her bio. She's removed the header photo entirely. So a lot of people are saying it looks like she might no longer be associated with the Hill. It's unclear if she left or if they fired her or what. But that does appear to be the current state of affairs.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to be honest with everybody and say I feel a little mixed kind of way about this, right? I think she definitely quit. That would be my inclination. That's my gut feeling. Or she's saying I will, or there's a negotiation in the balance and she's saying, look at what I will fucking do to walk away from all of this shit. But I imagine if she's gone this far, she's already just said, fuck you. Like she put her chips on the table probably for the Fauci interview, didn't get it, and then was like, fine, kiss off, essentially. And there is a part of me, Gavin, I have to be real. There's a part of me that's like, you know what, fam? We disagree on so much, but if somebody won't let you there to ask you questions, like you want to tell them, fuck you, I quit. Like I respect that game. Like that narrow element of this where it's like, I want to be there. I've worked to make this show what it is in the wake of Crystal and Sagar being gone. I wake up at 5 in the fucking morning. Like, this is an important issue for me. I want to ask these questions. If you don't put me on there, we know it's because of a political reason. Fuck you, I quit. Like game recognized game. Like I respect somebody that will put their fucking values on the line and fucking quit. Right. So that's one part of it. But yeah, my other analysis is that I think that, I probably wouldn't have agreed with her questions about Dr. Fauci. But I also don't think that we're going to see her again on the Hill Rising.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can understand with that, or understand that. Obviously, regardless of your policy, sometimes you got to take a stand. And if she really did walk away from the Hill and sacrifice the money they were clearly paying her and the platform they were giving her, then yeah, regardless of why, you kind of do have to respect that in a sense. That being said, kind of good riddance in my opinion. I used to give Kim more credit, guys. I really did. If you go back in this channel's history, I'd be like, well, I don't agree with Kim Iversen, but she seems like a good faith actor. She really seems like she, cares about what she thinks, even if I disagree with it a lot. And one of the reasons why I thought that is because I genuinely believed her to be a principled, free speech warrior. I thought she really cared about the First Amendment. That all changed when she threatened to sue a YouTuber, Mike Figueredo, sue him for defamation after he called her transphobic and said that she didn't like trans people. She threatened to sue him over that. And that really turned me off, left a bad taste in my mouth, because I was like, okay, well, clearly you don't actually care about First Amendment. Clearly you don't actually give a shit about free speech if you're so triggered by a literal YouTuber putting out a video with a fraction of the views that you get, calling you out, calling you transphobic, which is obviously clearly within his First Amendment rights to do so. So again, I don't think Kim is necessarily a good faith actor. I think she's a hypocrite. I think she's a total fool, to be honest with you guys. So I don't really give a shit if if she's not on the Hill anymore going forward. I'm not necessarily going to miss her commentary all that much. I think she's often just pretty deranged, pretty cuckoo, if you want my honest opinion. But that being said, like you said, Zach, I mean, I can understand why she'd be mad about this if she clearly wanted to interview Fauci and they excluded her purposefully. I could understand that rubbing her the wrong way. I would be interested, though, in the context of this interview and why she was excluded from it. The first thought that jumps to my mind is that Fauci told them, I'll only do an interview if it's not Kim Iversen doing it. Like, one of the conditions of him doing this interview was it had to be a non-Kim Iversen panel. That's possible. And
like the Bernie Crystal thing.
Right, like the Bernie Sanders crystal ball thing, where he said, I'll only give you an interview if it's just you. So that's possible. And I do understand why Kim would be upset about that, because it would seem like at that point, the Hill cares more about getting this interview than it does about retaining her talents or something, as she would see it. So I guess I could understand that. But, I'm going to have to see the exact context before I make a specific judgment, because what if they just happen to have Fauci on a day that Kim was not there? What if she normally doesn't work on Wednesdays and that's when Fauci dropped through the studio? I don't fucking know what happened. Maybe it just totally happened to be a scheduling mishap that ended up excluding her. We don't know. It's very possible that she just wasn't on the Hill that day, and that's the day he was on. So who knows? We really don't know. No details have been released. I'm guessing that soon we'll be finding out, because again, clearly Kim Iversen is no longer associated with the Hill. As of this morning, her banner header photo on Twitter was of her, Ryan Grimm, and Robbie Suave on the Hills Rising. That's no longer her background photo. And as I said, it's been taken out of her bio as well. So it's pretty clear that she's no longer associated with the Hill. I'm guessing that she's waiting for a couple days to go by or something so that she can say what she wants to, without feeling like she's in danger of any sort of like litigation or anything like that. But it will be interesting to see what happens going forward if she makes a big bombastic dramatic exit from the Hill, similar to how Crystal and Sagar did back in the day. Will she try to start a new independent venture besides her own previously existing show on YouTube? Who knows? It'll be interesting to see. We'll definitely follow it. We'll definitely keep track of it. But yeah, it is kind of funny, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds, and honestly, how relevant the Hill is able to maintain, in her absence. Because I just feel like they keep, rotating through commentators. Kim Iversen admittedly was one of the few that became like a consistent presence on there. So I wonder if that'll have any impact on it. We don't just see like Bree, Robbie, Kim every day, or Ryan, Kim, Robbie every day. So I wonder if that consistency is gonna, have any impact on the show's relevance. Not that I really give a shit either, just kind of like speculation.
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying that her presence on there, and again, Kim is not my favorite commentator. You guys know that. But clearly a lot of people do like her. She has an audience, and I definitely think her presence on Rising is one of the reasons why The Hill on YouTube was able to bounce back in the way they did from Crystal and Sagar's exit, because you guys might remember at the time, Zach and I covered their, initial attempts to do Rising without Crystal and Sagar, and it was absolutely fucking miserable. It was pathetic. We were like roasting the hell out of them because it was so bad. And then again, despite the fact that I don't agree with Kim on most issues, clearly she has the ability as a communicator and as a host to, bring in an audience and actually kind of gain them back some of that lost clout. So, it is interesting to see that relationship ending now, seemingly. Again, we'll see what happens. No confirmation yet, but it does appear. Guys, that Kim Iversen is no longer associated with the Hills Rising. And, I'll be interested to see what happens going forward, like I said, because it does seem like they've also added this new host whose name escapes me. I think her name is, Batia. I'm not 100% familiar with her, not a huge fan of what I've seen so far. But yeah, maybe they brought in her to replace Kim.
Interesting how woke media is undermining democracy. Out October 26th. Yeah. Can't say. much that I can't say I know much about Batia, but reading the title of her book alone gave me some insights. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, anyway, I thought this was an important update to give to the people, considering the fact that this is a big changeover at the Hill.